All right, welcome. Today we are going deep, literally. We're going to uncover the invisible systems and, well, the silent battles happening right under our feet. We're talking about your home's plumbing, and believe me, it's more of a war zone than you might think. Okay, let me ask you something. What do you think is the single biggest threat to your home? You might think of a fire or a storm, maybe even a burglar. But what if the greatest danger is something you can't even see? Believe it or not, it might just be the ground it's built on. Yeah, the very earth your house stands on could be waging this slow, relentless war against its most vital systems. To really see how this plays out in the real world, let's look at a little case study. So to really get a handle on this, let's head to a place called Bellaire, Texas. Think of this town as our real-world laboratory. Because the problems here, they can and absolutely do affect homes pretty much anywhere. You see, in a lot of towns just like Bellaire, you've got this perfect storm of challenges that wages a constant, hidden war on a home's plumbing. And really, it all comes down to four main culprits in this fight. I like to think of them as the hidden antagonists. You've got expansive clay soil, old cast iron pipes, super high water pressure, and yep, even aggressive tree roots. Let's dig into that first one. So the first attacker, it's the ground itself. It seems solid, right? Stable. But for so many homes, it's actually in this constant state of flux, silently attacking your foundation and all the pipes that run through it. This is where things get really wild. See, Bellaire is built on what's called expansive clay soil. Now, during a drought, this soil literally shrinks. It pulls away from the foundation, and that puts a ton of stress on your pipe connections. But then, when the heavy rain comes, that same soil swells up like a sponge, pushing with incredible force against those very same pipes. We're talking cracks, joint failures. It's a complete lose-lose that can end up cracking a home's entire foundation. That's a repair bill you do not want. And this really gets to the heart of it, right? Understanding these local conditions is what separates the plumbers who just fix the symptoms from the ones who actually solve the underlying problem. It's a difference between patching a leak and stopping the leaks from ever happening again. Okay, let's bring in our next two antagonists, pressure and time. When these two get together, they create a ticking clock for literally thousands of older homes. Get this, 80 to 100 psi. That's the typical water pressure from the city in this area. Now, to put that into perspective, that's kind of like having a fire hose constantly pushing against every single valve, fixture, and appliance in your house 24/7. This relentless pressure doesn't just wear out your pipes, it can literally shorten the life of your dishwasher, your water heater, everything connected to your water line. We're talking a fortune in premature replacements. And all that pressure is hammering away at pipes that are, let's be honest, way past their prime. If your house was built between, say, the 50s and the 80s, you almost certainly have cast iron drains that are corroding from the inside out. And if it's older than that, you might have galvanized steel pipes that are slowly choking themselves off with rust. These aging, weakened pipes are like putting out a welcome mat for our fourth antagonist, tree roots, which can sense even a tiny bit of moisture from a crack and just invade the whole line. Okay, so we've met the enemies, but how do you know if this silent war is actually happening inside your house? Let's switch gears a bit and talk about some practical advice, some of the subtle symptoms you can spot before a real disaster strikes. So, yeah, how can you even tell? It's almost never some dramatic burst pipe, It's usually much quieter. The house gives you these little clues, these quiet warnings that something is wrong. So, what are they? Well, a warm spot on your floor. That could be a hot water line leaking right under your foundation, a huge problem that can warp your flooring and cause thousands in water damage. A sudden spike in your water bill? That is a classic sign of a hidden leak. Or maybe you hear water running when everything is turned off? That's another dead giveaway. And those other things, gurgling toilets, slow drains all over the house, weird sewage smells, they often point to a major issue in your main drain line, like that corrosion we talked about, or a full-on invasion of tree roots. But look, it is not all doom and gloom. The good news here is that technology has really caught up. So let's look at how modern plumbing has evolved specifically to fight back against these age-old problems. A huge part of the modern fix is simply using the right materials. And here are two of today's champions. On one hand, you've got PEX piping. It's flexible, which is absolutely fantastic for replacing old pipes without having to tear down all your walls. That flexibility means less demolition, which saves you time, mess, and of course, money. And then you have copper, which is still the long-lasting, durable classic. It's the gold standard for a reason. Both of these are a massive upgrade over that failing cast iron and galvanized steel.
And what about those nasty, invasive tree roots? Well, meet hydrojetting. Now, this is not your grandpa's plumbing snake, okay? This is a high-pressure water jet that literally blasts the inside of your pipes clean, scouring away decades of buildup. It is so powerful, it can cut right through thick tree roots that have taken over a sewer line and created a complete blockage.
And, the whole professional process has been modernized, too. It shouldn't be some big mystery what happens when you call for help. You should expect a clear, transparent process. First, they assess your call. Then, a licensed plumber diagnoses the root cause, not just the symptom, and gives you clear options with upfront pricing. And only then do they complete the work and test everything to make sure the problem is actually, truly solved. So, after all that, what's the big takeaway? It's this. Your home's plumbing isn't just a passive set of pipes sitting there. It's a dynamic system that's under constant, active assault from forces you almost never see. The shifting earth, that immense pressure, chemical corrosion, and even nature itself. And that, right there, is really the key. Just being aware of these hidden battles, that's the most important first step you can take. Knowing what to look for and understanding why it's happening. That's what empowers you to protect one of your home's most vital and most vulnerable systems. Which kind of leaves us with one final question to think about. What unseen forces are shaping the future of your home? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining me.